Kevin, you know this about me now.
Yeah.
I'm nerdy about backstories, so I wanted to start there with your characters. Can you each tell me something you came up with on your own that we don't necessarily see or hear about in the film, but we can feel informing your performances?
Yeah. I mean, for Proximus, I just imagined him as a young bonobo and just being able to, just the fact that he could conceive outside of the present, like the future, and it made him very different, and he had all these grand ideas that none of the other bonobos really understood, it kind of took him to a point where like he really started thinking deeply about the future of apedom, and eventually it evolved into, you know, one of the things that I said to Owen, that actually Proximus said to Noah. We first met as apes, and one of the first things I told him was that if we lose power, we will probably end up living in cages again, and our ancestors will live in those cages, and humans will sit on the other side of those cages eating delicious snacks going, oh, isn't that neat? Oh, look, he pooped. Right? And so by any means necessary, he basically sought out to figure out how to keep control of that power. So that was kind of how
It's the best kind of antagonist. I don't have to agree with what he decides to do, but as long as I know what is motivating those choices, and I could feel everything you just said.
Yeah, I realize that he's known as the villain, but it's all perspective of narrative. So I just thought he was just trying to save them.
Very charming villain, actually.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about Noah and Proximus, is that they don't actually disagree about that. You know, ideologically, there's some similarity, because once you tell me the importance of this, Noah starts kind of wondering about that, and the thing that's keeping him from agreeing is his clan. In terms of Noah's backstory, there was a lot of work that we did in ape school, just amongst ourselves as the apes, was developing kind of a culture for Eagle Clan, for the village that Noah comes from. Laws of that society, you know, legends of that, like kind of our day-to-day existence in Eagle Clan was really important. But specifically speaking for Noah, one thing that I came up with to kind of form this relationship between, you know, him and his mom, which is, it's only a couple scenes, but you get a real sense that there's a real closeness there. Unlike him and his father, there's difficulty communicating between Noah and his father. But with his mom, you know, you see these kind of fish racks, essentially, because the Eagle Clan, the eagles hunt the fish, and we dry them and smoke them. And they're these kind of racks that come out like clothes drying racks where the fish hang. And one thing that I sort of thought about maybe Noah doing as a kid with his mom was helping her like design those and helping her build those, and this kind of connection where like she understood him in a way that Dad didn't. And it was through this kind of engineering thing that he's got going on.
I love little touches like that. I feel like you can feel that making the world, I don't know, feel whole and lived in, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into the movement in a little bit, but I'm curious finding the voices as well. What kind of conversations did you have with Wes to find, I guess, the right tone and the right cadence for both of your characters?
Well, for me, it was, I did ape school with Alain kind of one-on-one, because I came later on, and like third or fourth week, he asked me a question while I was moving around like Proximus, because once you get into the body, it's just you don't want to get out of it. It just feels so you like that primitive connection to that kind of movement, you know. And he asked me a question, and all of a sudden the voice came out, and it just made sense, and I understood that here I am. So it just kind of came out
That
of
is
that.
not the appropriate reaction, but that is magical to witness. So close.
And it was
Really,
just,
the whole character is dormant within, the body and the process.
Yeah.
And that day, it was random. I was like, so how would how would it come out and speak? And he just transformed completely. I'm like, oh my God, yes, okay.
He just grabbed the phone and started recording it.
Saved
sent
me a
it to
week
Wes.
of work.
I remember you going, okay, well, good.
I didn't know what to say. It was so good.
Let's go have some lunch. It was great. It was great. I felt like, oh, we found it, and I found it through all this process that he took us through to get there. That was for me.
I'm not sure if I had quite that kind of epiphany.
It didn't flip.
It was a much more gradual process of kind of finding things for
Yours
me.
is also much more complicated because you have an entire journey.
I remember the first time you asked me to speak as Noah.
That famous day where everybody was like, oh.
Yeah, I got up in front of everybody and the body was sort of most of the way there, I think, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yep.
But I'd never spoken. I'd never spoken as Noah, and he asked me something. He asked me a question. He asked me to introduce myself, say my name, and I was like, oh my God, how do I articulate this? How do I speak? And I didn't know how, and I felt quite shy about it. But this thing that came out was similar to, I actually don't remember a lot of this process, but it was similar to what you hear in the film, which is kind of like how I speak, but there's
a little bit more raw.
There's an element of
the rhythm. Yeah.
Just something, something kind of scratched in here. Like he's still trying to find where his voice sits. And it kind of, I got more confident with it as we went on, and a lot of that was through work with you and through talking to Andy. But I was really unsure about it for like most of Ape School until like a week before production. I had this kind of moment of like, hang on, Noah is in many ways me. Like we're very similar as people. And there was kind of this thing of like, okay, I think I can do this, and I think it's gonna work to not have a kind of Caesar thing, to have a high-voiced chimp, it's weird, but I think it'll work, and the whole process of making the movie was kind of that. It was me figuring out what I could do as an actor and as a person, in tandem with Noah figuring out what he could do and who he was.
Quality of him finding his voice through that voice work is something that I feel like is very applicable and strong.
Yeah.
I was reading a little bit about your process and how you break this down, that first you find the physical and then you find the psychological. I'm going to take this answer and back pocket it when I have to do all this. What is a technique you suggest actors do to start finding the physical, but then to differentiate the two? Can you give me a technique one could use to find the psychological as well?
There's a lot of techniques out there, but what happens in physical acting is that you gather different movement techniques, and the basis of it is you want somebody to guide you through becoming aware of your body, and then so you'll go through Feldenkrais, you'll go to even some Jacques Lecoq from France. There's a lot of different techniques. Usually it's a choice of elements that exist. To me, they go back 1,500 years with Shaolin monks. But anything that works to get somebody to be in their body and to be conscious is an asset, because then you realize that your psychological character, the persona you're creating here in your mind, has a reflection. The body doesn't lie. And if you're not in the body might actually not be doing what you're thinking it's doing. So you'll have, an actor for it's just a simple example, but it's basic body language. If I'm asked, what happened last year when that whole drama happened, and then an actor will answer, and he's looking to his right, he's lying. there's something with the body that's not working, because the natural human being, the body's very smart, is very intelligent. Actually, the head, the you who thinks is you, is in control of this, is the last one to get the memo. Your body is already reading me as I speak to you before the words come out of my mouth. It's in my eyes. They're called mirror neurons. They focus, and all animals have these qualities. It's really extraordinary. And so what's important to remember is that you don't ignore the body, because in my world, of course, because I was a physical actor, I also did some lyrical stuff, obviously. But the actor is a whole body. And there's a lot of magic down here that will help the actor up here, even if he's just being filmed in a frame this big. Because the support that holds that persona is real,
Yeah.
One more question for you before I dare put any of this to use.
Yeah.
I love the work of a movement coach. I love the Apes franchise. I also love the Alien franchise. What does it mean to be a movement coach on an Alien movie compared to this?
Wow, that was an experience. I really loved every moment of it. I had to prepare a gentleman who's 7'7" and is seriously crippled. He has really serious impediments. And in physical acting, you always use what you have as an asset. And we went that way, and the company that designed the whole costume for him did such an incredible job. And he totally surrendered to my work in the body and just awakened. 6 weeks later, he's on set and people are mesmerized how incredible he is, going, my God, this is, And he was not an actor. He had never acted before. And so I started with the body, and then we went to the voice and to what is that character, where is he going, and what's the persona. But we started with the body and built it from what he had to offer, and it became just the perfect creature for that moment. Yeah.
That's inspiring. I feel like I needed to hear that and all of this before I try any of this. I love how I insisted on holding this. I don't think I looked at it once. I'm going to get rid of it now.
So the question is, what do you have to offer?
Not to put any pressure on you.
I'm really good at swatting bees, I've learned at this junket, so I do have that to offer.
There's a lot of those around.
We could add this. Yeah, we could add this.
You can see it in my other interviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
But the main thing about the apes, obviously when the body of the actor is ready, to put on the layer of the ape starts with the physiology of the ape. And so the first thing I always say is bend your knees, because they have shorter legs than we do, in proportion to the upper body, obviously. And the other thing is that they do not torsion. They have no...
Oh.
Yeah, because their hips are so high, their iliac bones are so high, they almost touch their floating ribs. There's no room for any... So whenever they move, naturally the hip follows the shoulder. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
And you can keep
sense.
it really smooth.
You're so fast when you do it. It's very
What do you mean?
intimidating. When you're walking on the crutches, you move fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of practice. Yeah. And you
How do
can
they turn
naturally
around?
open the knees and open the legs,
Naturally
or, just be really natural. But just keep
You're quite
like this.
bouncy
That's
with
really
the
bouncy.
legs.
Yeah.
So like imagine that
You have
you've got
to think tango.
Okay.
yeah.
Tango,
You've
like
got hands
tango?
on your feet.
You have
Well,
so
Hands
you're
on my
feeling the
feet.
ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
feel it.
Good. Now you're getting down.
And you can
bit.
sink into the
Feel
leg
the
too.
ground. Yes.
I go to the gym. I can do a squat. I'm okay with
Yeah,
that part of
there
it.
you go.
Now, how do you turn around, though, in a way that's natural to an ape?
Take your time.
I feel like I get stuck in the corner.
They do it in many moves. They just very naturally.
You just follow the rules.
Yeah.
So like if I heard something behind me, he could be like,
follow the hips.
Okay, follow the hips.
Follow
That's a
the
good
hips.
rule of thumb.
And the
I feel
ape
like my
now.
ape is only capable of walking in circles, very rigid circles.
Well, that's all we've really got to work with anyway. so-
That's fair.
We could go back and forth and do the Shakira ape.
Well, there's a few
I can't
moments
compare to
where
Amanda's ape.
you wanna walk backwards. It's tricky, you know.
Yeah, you got like a sidewalk thing going on there.
Well, yeah. Well, Proximus
And so-
has a kind of different walk
He
than the
approaches
rest.
life sideways.
He's so
and then he turns.
Whereas Noah's much more
And then you have such a big presence. That's not like
Yeah.
someone my size cannot do that.
Sure.
It would not be intimidating.
It is all
Just
there.
raise your arms.
Really.
Your heart, open your arms. Yes, follow your heart.
Now it feels that you might be ready for the crushes. First thing you're going to do is just stand still
Okay.
with both hands pretty square. Very good.
There you go. Oh, she's a natural ape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
this feels more right than just walking casually before.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like forcing me into the right positions.
Yeah.
Oh, we're just going. Has anyone face planted yet?
Oh, yes. Oh, no, not in the...
Not today.
No, not
Okay.
today.
You're walking with the opposite, right?
Yes,
Yeah, there you
opposite.
go.
Very
That's it.
good.
There you go.
Wow.
Right,
Whoa!
so right
Look at
now
that.
your hands are really wide.
Wide.
So you're kind of walking in front.
Oh, I see.
So you want to have one that's outside and one that's inside. And do
Okay.
the same thing. There you go. So keep your,
way more
keep your
fun than
hands
my
a little
usual workout.
closer. Yeah. Right now, it's interesting. She's like a baby ape who's studying.
Yeah.
They
Very
have that
appropriate.
Yeah, they kind of,
Yeah.
they're a little drunk.
Yeah.
with the left foot. Go
Oh, the right.
outside that one and step in. Yeah, that's it. And then do the same thing.
So,
And so you'll be walking a little bit sideways. There you go.
Yeah.
There you
oh,
go.
I'm kind of coordinated today. How do you run?
So do it without the stilts, just skipping. Okay.
Okay.
And then naturally find where the stilt.
Okay. I have to like turn to the same side. I don't think I could repeat it otherwise.
There you go.
It's like kind of. It feels like
Kind
a little
of.
disjointed.
Yeah, this one needs practice. I mean, they also run forward.
I got it there.
We don't have much room to run around. But it's the same.
There we go.
Hey.
Oh!
Ooh, I'm going.
That's,
Wow.
It's beginning to get in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
I feel
good.
like I want to like run a race like this now.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Kind of fun.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Now you
I
just,
can't believe you
now
guys are doing this all
alternate,
day. I'm
'cause you
impressed.
do the two together.
Two together.
Then do the same thing, but alternate.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Which one are you putting down first? The inside one or the outside one?
If you're
Right
leaning
hand?
that way,
The back one first.
Okay, back one first.
Yeah.
Oh god, that's not coordinated. Oh, I kind of got it now.
Yep. That's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, pretty good.
There we go.
Hey, nice.
Can every junket have this, even if it is not for an Apes movie?
You're
I
great
wish.
ape.
I tried.
You're a great ape.
I tried.
You're a great ape.
Work.
Yeah.
Great ape.
Good
I'm a
job.
running ape.
Very well.
Thank you,
You
guys.
are.